What's up, world? This is We Need a Fifth. This your man Mo. Got my man Hill in the building. Got my man P on the line.
What up? Favorite time of the year.
The playoffs have officially begun. Matter of fact, we got a playoff game starting right now between the 76ers and the Brooklyn Nets. Um, just off the top, how, who do we like in this series? I feel like this is like a no-brainer right here, but who do we like in this series?
Yeah, definitely Philly.
Mm. Yeah, I don't like Philly. I love Philly more.
Mhm.
Philly in, I want to say four.
Mhm.
So I'll be generous and say Philly in five. They tend to stretch out their playoff, their wins. So, they could give trouble in the earlier rounds if you're going to try to pick off Philly. But I think Embiid and the Sixers could be poised to make quick run of Brooklyn, who is a formidable opponent, not to say. I mean, they're
No,
scrappy.
yeah, great job by Jacques Vaughn. With the exodus of Kyrie and KD, I thought they were lottery bound. So he's done a great job. What he has. He has some talented players, but still, no one expected him to even make the playoffs. I didn't expect him to make.
Mhm.
So, who do how many games, P?
I just beat up Jacques Vaughn. I gotta give him one game. So we'll say in five. No, you know what? We'll say I'll go six in 6 games because Philly is in
I
six. It
was
They're
just
should be.
playoff.
about to say
They're
that. I,
AFC
I,
playoff team.
I think, yeah, I think it's going to be a longer series than you guys think it is. I think it's going 6 or 7. I
Yeah, I
think
say.
what
Mhm,
what concerns me is just I want to make sure that Harden's going to be healthy through the whole series.
mhm,
You know, and I think that Brooklyn is scrappier than people give them credit for. I think they kind of returned back to the Brooklyn before Kevin Durant and Kyrie got into town, where hey, they were a scrap. They were going to be a tough out if you ever pulled up their number. And that hey, they play solid defense. They have shooters all over the court. Um, Mikael Bridges is coming into his own. I think they're going to be a hard out for Philadelphia. I think Philadelphia should dominate, but I think just by the nature of how Brooklyn Nets have been playing the last couple of games and stuff like that, especially closing out the season, I think they're going to
mhm.
be a hard out.
I'll piggyback off of both you guys and say I got Philly in five, but Philly is one of those teams, like Milwaukee, that during these times it seems like the screws just gets tighter, and the ghosts
Mm-hmm.
tend to haunt people like Doc Rivers, James Harden. So if you want to pick them off, I think the first round would probably do it. Possessions tend to seem like it's an NCAA game. It's always one possession they miss. It seems like they're down on themselves. Philly, it just seems like that team where the poise is not there, and Brooklyn playing loose. If they get up for a little quick lead, you start to fall into those monsters. So James, for one, healthy or not, I mean, yeah, I'll give you credit more for saying like if he's healthy. If he healthy, I feel like it must. I think even if he is healthy, this is just playoff James. I think the deeper Philly goes, the more comfortable they get, that they won't get bumped off. But they're highly susceptible. I'm only giving five because I feel that Embiid is just having a monster year and they're just that talented. But game wise, no, I wouldn't be surprised if Brooklyn even won. And it's not for the sake of Brooklyn. And Jacques done a great job. It's just that they play so tight and so nervous. And each shot, and you got Zhang and all these other guys start, missing shots. And then you're down one. And then Philly goes into that lull, and then they end up losing the series.
And I'm not the biggest James Harden fan, but in order to be fair to him, one of the things that I will say, and I think people haven't, especially in the media, haven't given him this credit, and I think it on the or had difficulties in the playoffs. a large amount of that has been a result of injuries. He hasn't utilized it as an excuse, and I don't want him to utilize it as an excuse. You're on the court, you play, that's it. But I think the media, pundits like us, can't recognize that, hey, he was hurt. He was dealing with injury, and that might affect your gameplay. So I do want to give him that benefit of the doubt in the sense that, hey, I don't think it's a situation where James is just not showing up or the lights are too bright for him.
Oh,
I think
I think it's both. Like I think people realize
okay.
Either he won't show up or he'll get injured. But either way, the results either way, it's a fail. You know what I mean? Like I hate to say it like that, but so I think people recognize he's injury prone in the playoffs. Him and Chris Paul is kind of like the same thing. You know what I mean? Like they went down a couple of times in the playoffs, and sometimes they were perfectly healthy, just didn't play well. And I think people, I take that into account. Like I don't trust Philly.
No,
that's what it is. I just don't trust him.
And with Embiid possibly the MVP of this season, I got him third. If they lose the series, I got to blame third on him. And I know he's the number one player on his team. But this is an indictment on Doc Rivers, and I don't want to push them down this road so early. But if they lose the series, it's indictment of Doc Rivers and it's indictment of James Harden, and this will stain their career even more because I think it's stained already with them. With him only having one championship and then having this lore of him being such a great coach.
And I think that's part of the narrative that I'm uncomfortable with, in the sense that, Embiid, you've been touting that you're the MVP, you're the best player in the league, and you're shooting for that. Okay, if your team gets bounced in the first round, you're in that. You're a major part of that equation of why you guys failed, especially with Embiid and his history with the process, where we had to wait 4 years basically for him to actually start his career, and then during his while he's been playing, he hasn't had full seasons, and then we talk about his motivation to be great, what it takes for Embiid to finally, hey, push that button and say, you know what, I'm going to be great every game, not just some games when I'm facing someone that I feel stole an award from me. So I think that has to be part of the narrative too. Now we're talking about Embiid's in year 7, year 8. This is the time when superstars are supposed to make that transition. At least that's what Michael Jordan told me. After year 7.
If he gets the ball, like you're saying for him to do, and which I think he'll produce, then yeah, he'll be the number one on the list. He'll just reverse that list totally. If Embiid is getting touches and they don't produce, Embiid is going to be the number one knock, in which I do it. He's on full stage. But if Doc coaches like Doc usually coaches, and James and the other guys have the ball more than Joel Embiid, he can only get so much due to bad coaching and bad decisions by the others. So if it's on him and he loses the series, sure, Joel Embiid will be tarnished. I totally agree. But like I said, I don't want to push them down that road. I got Philly. Philly in 5. Let's go.
P, you got Philly in 6. I got Philly in 6. We're all right on that Philly train. Next game up today is going to be Boston versus Atlanta. You guys have any thoughts on this series right now? I think it's chalk. I think
chalk meaning 4.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I think Boston's I think Boston's going to come out the East. So that's how much I think of Boston. I think they're going to make quick do and get into playoff form as a result of Atlanta. And I think Atlanta will have a lot of questions after this series in regards to whether they're going to retain Trae Young. I think that's the biggest thing I'm going to get from this series. How Trae plays. Does he play himself into staying, or does he force himself out? We're talking Boston's defense with a mix of his shot taking and turnover prone. Has Atlanta seen enough of them?
Pete?
Boston in 5. Like to me, this is just I'm just waiting for the second round for this one. I'll watch it, just to keep up with what's going on. But Boston in 5.
Hill, I think I'm of the same thought as you. I think this is Trae Young's, for better or for worse, his auditioning to continue his career with the Atlanta Hawks. I think all the issues that you laid out to bear, as far as his shot making decisions as far as his shot taking, his deficiencies on defense.
Mm-hmm.
I think they're all coming to bear, and I think Atlanta's going to utilize this playoffs series to kind of determine how much of it they can bear, and if there is a path forward, or if there is a tenable plan that could be seen from this, as far as how do you make Trae Young and DeJounte Murray work. If they don't see what they need to see, I think Trae Young is on the first thing smoking.
Yeah, I understand all of that, but in defense of Trae Young, you're the Hawks. Be careful. Like, you're not the Lakers. It's not like if you blow it up, you're going to get all these free agents and it's going to be a quick rebuild. You're the Hawks. Like, you're a middle of the road franchise. So I would be careful. And I'm not saying Trae Young is a franchise player that can win you a championship. I'm not saying that. I'm saying Atlanta, you're not a franchise that wins championships anyway. So
I think because of that, P, they have to be willing to say is Trae the right fit for us? And I think that's what's being brought up. And I think they have, especially when you have Murray on your bench, and honestly he's the type of point guard that you need in the East. And Trae Young, you can't put him at the 2 because of his defensive vulnerabilities. So it's like they really need to figure out, what they're going to do with him, and what's the plan, what's the pathway to success with him? Because as their team is constructed, he becomes a liability in tight portions of the game. You can't keep him on the floor at the end of games, honestly, if it's a tight game, especially if you need some type of defensive stops.
No, I understand his deficiencies on defense and, his shot selection. I understand all of that, but he is an all-star caliber player. If you get rid of him, it'll be interesting to see what they do post Trae Young if they decide to go that route.
I mean, you get rid of him, you can't be any worse than what you are now.
No, you can. You definitely could be worse than what you are now. You definitely could be a lot of teams.
I think, honestly, Pete, it would be addition by subtraction. They would be closer to, what you saw with those Rip Hamilton and Chauncey Billups Detroit Piston teams, where spread it out. You got guys that can defend the paint, rebound in batches, and then you got a solid point guard that can play defense, that can make a shot at the end of games.
San Antonio had him too, though, with great coaching and a great franchise.
Yeah,
and nobody else but him.
So you think I don't think Atlanta's all that talented. I guess that's what you're getting at.
I think they're more talented than San Antonio, especially in the Eastern Conference. And the Eastern Conference, as far as regular season goes, I think is a little weaker than the Western Conference, a little less parity. And I think Trae Young is part of the issue in Atlanta.
So you think he's holding the other talented players back?
Well, technically, I think Atlanta is built around Trae Young, and I think Trae Young, the biggest problem with Atlanta was that everyone during that whole Trae Young run was either injured or, lack of a better term, dead, and they went to the Eastern Conference Finals. And I said then that Atlanta would err more to the favorability of them being a playing game or out the playoffs because of Trae Young. Everything had to fall right for them to get that Eastern Conference final run.
But
so I don't.
Go ahead.
For me, I think Trae Young more so is a difference of promotion and basketball. I think with Atlanta, they have to decide which way they want to go from an organizational standpoint. Do they want to fill seats? Because I think that he brings people in Atlanta from a money standpoint with promotions of him being a sideshow. I really do. And from a basketball standpoint, what can you get now? Because I think he might be at one. I don't think he's at his highest. His highest potential is when they had that run. Is when I said they should have got rid of him. Now he's at somewhat of a high point when he gets some stuff for him. DeJounte Murray fits in to me as the way Shai Gilgeous-Alexander did and Ja Morant, the way that they improved. Like Shai was on the Clippers at one point too, and no one saw how good he was. You watch Shai, you said Shai had talent. DeJounte had talent. He's standing out with me with San Antonio, just a really nice basketball player. If they get rid of Trae and get pieces around Atlanta, Atlanta could be a formidable basketball team, but not as much as they would be from a promotional standpoint of having Trae Young. That's decisions they have to make. For me to get better, I think they would have to get rid of Trae Young, unless they are fine with, which makes sense, filling the seats and still being a fringe playoff team if they want to keep Trae. You know what I'm saying? So that's something that they have that they would have to work out. But I don't see them getting any further with Trae Young.
Okay. Nah, I understand, but I don't see them getting further with or without. I guess that it's like a type of conundrum because like basically whenever, like you're saying, when everybody was hurt and he basically had control of the franchise, they made it to the conference finals. But now that they're healthy, we got them going out in the first round. So I can't really put all the blame on him on that. But again, I do understand defensively he's a liability. His shot selection, his field goal percentage. Yeah, I think they're damned if they do, damned if they don't. To be honest. I'm not saying if they keep them, they're championship bound. I do not think that.
Right.
But you just have to be careful when you get rid of a star player that the rebuild is going to be that easy. Because Utah just did that. Now they're in the lottery with Donovan Mitchell.
Yeah, I mean, ultimately, I don't know what teams want. So I'm not inside their war room. I would think it's to compete for a championship. I don't think they'll ever win one. But just compete. And to some extent, Trae is good for the regular season, but I just don't see him. I mean, just for the physical flaws of his height, his shot taking ability, and his turnovers to me are like three horrible recipes why I would try to get rid of him now instead of being stuck with him later and then having this issue with re-upping the contract, the city loving him. He's becoming a staple. You want to cut ties pretty early before you more get invested. He's only going to make more money because his style of basketball in Atlanta, his stats are only going to improve. As bad as they are, percentage-wise, his stats are always, he'll be at 29 points a game, maybe 12 assists, but watching the game, you're saying, well, what's going on here? You know what I mean? So I don't know. I'm always of a trade early guy. I'm not of a Danny Ainge type trade early guy, but we want to get stuff for the writings on the wall. So with that being said, like I said, Boston in 4 for me.
Fellas, the last game of today. No, matter of fact, the last Eastern Conference game for today is.
You sell them so short. You really wanted to skip them, didn't you?
Yeah, Cleveland Cavs versus the New York Knickerbockers.
Yeah,
I mean, fellas, who do you got?
I got Cavs in 7. I think it's going to be a real entertaining series. I got Cavs in 7.
I would have went Knicks in 7 if Jules wasn't Nick. That's how much I really like this series. And let's just say from a whole standpoint, it's like the matchmakers made a perfect matchup for the playoffs. And in every single game, I think I'm invested except for that Denver game, that Denver series. But for the Knicks, if they stick to their game plan of defense and having Jalen Brunson, go off, each game is going to be grit, grimy, which I thought the Knicks might be able to pull off. Like I said, not to be redundant, if Julius was 100%, which he's not. So I'm saying Cleveland having home court advantage should be able to come out with a Game 7 win. But I have it competitive. I want to go Knicks, I really do, but I'm going to go with the home court and say that Cleveland pulls it out.
I got Cavs in 6, but I
Oh,
Okay.
really want to say Cavs in 7.
Mhm.
Know why? Because I want the perfect storm of events for New York Knicks fans. I want them to be right there, Hill, right at the precipice of being something, of being an actual winner at something. And then Donovan Mitchell snatches their heart from their chest and crushes it in his hand as he sinks the game winning shot. I would love that. There would be nothing more for me. I would love it. The only thing better would be if he does that in the game 6 in New York. Wouldn't that be great? Just wow, right there.
I
Because
mean,
I
but
feel like every game that New York wins, the Knickerbocker fans are going to try to show a damn parade down Broadway. And I don't need that in my life, Hill. Not a Broadway, not a Broadway parade. Every time you guys win a daggone playoff game, a series, but a game.
I mean, by hook or by crook, this is going to be an RJ Barrett referendum. RJ plays well, the Knicks could win. RJ plays bad, the Knicks will lose. So he has to show up in this. And question:
He
Was RJ
won't show
Barrett
up.
and was RJ Barrett and Spider in the same draft?
no, I think
No, right?
No,
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 no.
no.
I think
That
Donovan.
became
Spider was
early.
Spider was earlier, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
maybe a year or two. Yeah.
Okay,
RJ was in Zion's.
right.
Yeah,
He,
2019.
I mean, he can't be. He can't not just. He can't disappear. I mean, Knicks are rolling, and RJ cannot be just a no show in this.
I mean, they can always call Pat Ewing and Aaron to help them out in the playoffs.
They potentially have the six
The
man of the year. They have
Knickerbockers.
6 man of the year with IQ, right? Who's playing out of his mind. They got
Mhm.
Brunson playing at an All Star level. They had Randall playing at a Super All Star level prior to his injury. Yeah, no, he was playing really, really well. I mean, I would think Julius Randle was making some type of fight to say that he was NBA's second team, right?
Yeah, I think that's fair, especially with the games
Right.
played. Yeah.
Right. So we're talking definitely top 20 players in the league, which is a
Yeah.
huge jump from where I had him.
Yeah.
So
Wow.
and Mitch and
Okay.
Mitch and Mitch Lobson down low with defense and being a presence. I mean, I think he's gonna have twin towers in which he's gonna have to dominate that presence. So it's
So what
it's
I'm
just
hearing is you guys really like this Knicks team.
no, the
You
Knicks
guys
been
are
playing.
turning into Knicks fans now?
No, the Knicks been playing well. No, we're back. This is what we do.
Yeah.
We're non-biased. We're basketball fans, and we watch good basketball. We like good basketball. The Knicks have improved immensely. The Garden fans should feel good about this team.
Yeah, like I'm not a Cleveland fan. I'm just picking them at 6 because I think, I know I actually, well, I picked them at 7. I think it's a good matchup. I think it's going to be an
Yeah.
entertaining series. I really do.
Sunday we have Milwaukee playing against Miami.
Mhm.
How do you guys see that series playing out?
I wanted to correct myself and said that the Nuggets probably series is one of the more unwatchable series. This one, add this one to it. It's one of the more unwatchable series. Any series that involves possibly Giannis having to go against a possibly staunch Miami team defense, which they'll give, and watch Giannis struggle, and just Miami just struggle because they're Miami, is going to take possibly a few Heinekens to get through this one. And I'm not advocating drinking, but this is a rough series to watch, unless you're a huge defensive aficionado. But I want to see but the answer to the question, Milwaukee in 6, maybe 7, because they go through so much offensive lows. I think Giannis should be able to pull through, and it depends if Chris Middleton tweaked himself that last game of the regular season. So I want to know if he's going to be pretty much healthy. If he's healthy, Milwaukee in 6.
Yeah,
Pete?
I got Bucks in 5. I believe Bam Adebayo might be the Miami Heat's tallest player. He's like 6'9", 6'10" on a good day with two socks on. just hit the backboard, Milwaukee. They should, like, Lopez and Giannis should kill them on the boards. But that being said, sometimes they struggle. So Mo, I know you'll be watching. This might be a referendum on your man, Coach Bud, but with that height advantage, they shouldn't have that much. It's my hand. They really shouldn't.
And Pete, you must be a wizard or something because you took the thoughts right out of my head. I think that if Milwaukee leans into their strengths, if Giannis decides that, you know what, I'm just going to be dominant. I'm not going to try to be cute. I'm not going to try to hit any jump shots. I'm just going to try to drive the ball down your throats and see who can stop me at the rim. This should be Milwaukee in 5.
Mm-hmm.
But Coach Bud, you guys know how I feel about Coach Bud.
No, I really have Milwaukee in 4. I think if he does that, it should be in 4. But yeah,
it's probably going to be 6. It's probably going to take 6, like Hill said. But I think if Giannis decides to be dominant and just says, you know what, meet me at the rim and let's see who can stop me once I get to the rim, I think this should be done rather quickly.
I mean, Bud is going up against probably one of the best in the game, which is Spo. So Spo creates somewhat of a wall. I know Bam is at best. We're still showing, like you said, 6'8", 6'9".
Mm-hmm.
If they get towards having Giannis operate 8, 9 feet prior to the rim and get some fouls, because I think he is reckless once he sees the rim, you might have a little bit of a better series with Miami stretching out plays, and you get into a couple of 81, 87, 83, 85 point games, which that's the only way I think Miami can win this, is if you have it into a Jimmy Butler spectacle in which he's holding the ball, and each possession he's going to make a smart decision or get fouled, and just lessen the amount of possessions Milwaukee has, and couple that with Giannis's frustration or inability to get a better shot and get into foul trouble. This could stretch the series out. With that being said, I'm banking on Holiday and Middleton to pull this game out the muck and get this series over with, so I can actually watch Milwaukee play someone I can actually enjoy.
I don't know how you really feel.
Yeah, I just want to make it clear, like, I really am not a Heat fan.
We got that.
Okay.
Yeah, I wasn't clear before, but clear now. Fellas, I know it's probably way too early to ask this question. Probably need to see a couple of these games, at least game 1's play out on this side. But I'm going to ask it anyway. Who do you guys got going to the Eastern Conference Finals?
Celtics. Sorry, I don't want to take too long. Celtics.
Who are they going to be playing? In the Eastern Conference Finals. Not the final.
I guess we're gonna go chalk here. Celtics Bucks.
Okay. P.
No, is that right? Yeah, Celtics had was the number 2 seed, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, Celtics Bucks.
P.
I got the Bucks over the Celtics in 7. Yeah.
Okay.
I don't know if we were giving a win.
I wasn't asking for a winner, but since you put it out there, P, we'll take that. We'll put that in concrete. Put that on the record. I thought you were just going to surprise us with, Celtics Philly or something like that. But no, I'm with you guys. I think it's going to be Celtics Bucks. And I'm going to wait until I see game 1 to decide who I'm going to pick as an Eastern Conference Finals winner.
We talk about the soft out. That is the soft out. But we'll wait. I guess it's always easy to hedge our bets and say, after 4 years, he pretty was a decent president instead of going in and saying that he will be a decent president. So yeah, Small. Let's not do Minority Report. I guess let's just wait till it's done and find out and say, yeah, you know what?
No one did. Who do you? Yeah, in the Eastern Conference Finals. You out there?
Celtics. I got Celtics winning. Yeah, absolutely. I want to say Celtics in 5.
Wow.
Oof, wow.
Yes, got them coming out there easy.
Okay, wow. If I had to pick right now, I think I would pick the Bucks. I think Giannis is that dominant, and I don't think anybody in the East has an answer for him. And as good as the Celtics have been, I think Giannis and a healthy Chris Middleton, they don't have an answer for Giannis.
The healthy Chris Middleton, that plays a part, a huge part. Because Giannis is Giannis, but without Middleton, yeah. I saw what happened last year. Yeah.
And you'll see it happen this year. And it'll happen again this year. And Boston's just better. It's a better team.
No, Boston's a good team.
And I like Drew Holiday as they got a better point guard too. Milwaukee Bucks. I like Drew Holiday better than Marcus Smart at the one position.
2 and 3 is a lot. 2 and 3 is not close.
And I like Brook Lopez more than Robert Williams.
Yeah, just
he's having a defensive player of the year type year with Brook Lopez. But when it comes to force and dominance in playoff basketball, give me Rob Williams. I've seen Brook miss enough layups in my time and open shots. Give me just meat and potatoes, block shots, pick and roll, dunks. Give me Boston. Just give me Boston on this stage.
Hey, we got it on the record. It's on the record. Hey, guys, hit us up on social media. Let us know what you guys think. Who you guys have going into the Eastern Conference Finals? Who do you have in the Eastern Conference in the finals? Do you agree with any of us, or do you think it's another team? Hit us up on Facebook, Instagram, TikTok. Don't forget to subscribe to the YouTube channel. Hit that notification button so you know when the next video is coming out. Don't forget to subscribe to the podcast wherever you're listening to this podcast. And you can hit us up directly at weneedafifth@gmail.com. All right, fellas. We did
Get it out the muck. Get into basketball. Get into where it's really at.
Now we got to go to the Wild Wild West. First game is going to be played tonight in the Western Conference. Golden State versus Sacramento. Sacramento, first time being in the playoffs since, I think, 2006, I want to say.
Mm-hmm.
So it's been almost 17 years for them. And they made the 3rd seed. I think they have the NBA's best ranked offense, if I'm not mistaken. Unfortunate for them, they have NBA's worst defense as well.
Mm-hmm.
Golden State is finally getting Andrew Wiggins back after dealing with some family issues. We'll see how that works out. I also believe they're getting Gary Payton III back as well. So they're finally working themselves into being a healthy team again. Who do you guys have? Is this a thing where the champions, as many prognosticators have been alluding to, the champions take care of business against the younger upstarts? Or do we believe that these young upstarts can surprise everyone, surprise the world?
Well, they're the 3rd best team in the West. That's one. And I know they're not playoff built, definitely not championship built. But I'm going to give Sacramento, believe it or not, this first game. I think they're going to win the first game. Now, that might be their only game that they win out the series, because I think Golden State makes adjustments and wins the second game, which they have won on the road. And then I think they go into overdrive and win in 5. But I think Sacramento will be able to pluck off Golden State the first game. And hats off to Mike Brown. It'll be a good showing for him. And then unfortunately, things will revert back to the norm. They'll go down in flames because of their defense. But I think they'll be high on themselves in game one. All the doubters, energy, Sacktown bumping. I can see them pulling out game one, but then nothing else after that.
P?
First, I was going to give kudos to Coach Brown. I always kind of questioned him. I didn't think he was that good of a coach. He proved me wrong this year. This was just like an excellent coaching job, to take this team I think most people had as a lottery team to be the third seed. You know what I mean? And I'm excited to watch them actually. De'Aaron Fox, Sabonis, Monk, got some really talented young players. That being said, same thing as last year. I don't go against the Warriors. So I got Golden State in 6.
Yeah, I think I have Golden State in 6 as well. I think Sacramento is going to pull out too. I think some of the issues Golden State has faced during the season will rear up its ugly head. Those issues being their defense, their inability to win on the road. I think some of those issues are going to come up. I think they'll be able to overcome them and make adjustments as Hill alluded to. But I think this is going to be a little test for the defending champions. I think Sacramento is going to give them everything they can.
What I did see was that part of Weapon X was pulled out with Golden State in that final game and Sacramento, which will pose, I think, a threat to De'Aaron Fox. And that's Gary Payton. De'Aaron is playing out of his mind, but Gary Payton had 8 points that game, like 4 steals, and the defensive efficiency for the team from a plus-minus standpoint were boundless with him just being on the court. So you're adding that plus the unknown, which is Wiggins, from a perimeter defender from, say, 2 to 4.5. Those 5 in which Andrew could just lock down people. If Andrew's locked in and Gary's locked in, it might not even go the 5 I'm thinking. You know what I mean? Because it takes so much energy to run and chase Steph. And Steph doesn't have to play any defense when you're talking about Gary, Andrew, and Draymond. And you're throwing Looney. So you're having fresh Clay, fresh Jordan, fresh DiVincenzo, fresh Steph. And they're able to throw these waves at you from an offensive standpoint. And these cogs knowing and JaMychal Green, knowing their positions on the floor and saving them with a full tank. I mean, I'm tempted to have the Warriors coming out the West. Tonight's game is so huge. I'm saying Wiggins is a little rusty. He might not even play in. That's why I got Sacramento winning game 1. If Wiggins is operating and Gary is playing the way they are, this is a well-oiled machine to a Boston Golden State Finals once again.
Okay. Sunday, we got the rest of the Western Conference playoff games happening. First one up, Lakers versus Memphis. Who we got in this? We got LeBron and AD with the revamped Lakers squad with D'Angelo Russell. Then you have Ja Morant with a beat-up Memphis squad. No Steven Adams.
Base. No Witchcomb as well.
Bane.
I think Bane's playing. You don't have what's the power forward?
No, Jaren Jackson's playing.
No,
I know who you're talking about. Don't know his name. Tillman?
With the dread. Who?
Oh, yeah. Is it right?
No, it's so sad.
No, now I know exactly who you're talking to. And he balls. He's nice.
Yes, he comes off the bench and he's a live body with him. He's not going to play this series as well. And that's so sad. I'm unable to pull up his names. Guys could look it up. But having him not being there and Steven Adams not there opens up the lane for
Brandon Clark.
Yes, Brandon Clark.
Brandon Clark.
Opens up the lane for Anthony Davis and LeBron James to have, the lane. I've seen the Lakers too much this year for me to pick them. I really have, and I'm just gonna go off of just strictly Ja having home court advantage. Everyone, the Lakers, the hot pick to make. I think the Lakers might be hot garbage in this series, and Memphis taking them out in 5. So I'm gonna just go off. If I don't have to pick games, I'm gonna say Memphis is gonna win this series. The Lakers are so overrated; it's unreal. Anthony Davis is not going to come to play, and then that's what's going to be the problem for the Lakers.
P.
Because of the absence of Adam and Brandon Clark, I got the Lakers. I think this is going to be. I think this is the most entertaining series. I think it's going to be the most competitive series.
Who's the big that's going to affect, or it's just the lane's going to be open for everyone to go down? I mean, who's the big that's going to affect?
I'm going with AD, man. I'm Charlie Brown. I'm Charlie Brown kicking the football again, man. I'm going with AD. I mean, Jaren Jackson is a formidable opponent, but I'll take my chances with AD on this one. I think the Lakers' experience in 7 games ultimately will get them through the series.
Yeah, I have Lakers in 7.
Man, they are such a hot pick. They are.
I think without Steven Adams and Mr. Clark, the paint is going to be you're going to be relying on Jaren Jackson to defend the paint and be one of your primary defenders at the rim.
Right.
And Jaren Jackson always has issues with staying out of foul trouble when he has Steven Adams and Brandon Clark to assist him. And he's not asked to be the primary defender at the rim. Now you're putting him where, hey, you saying, Jaren, hold the line. And hold the line against LeBron coming down the lane and Anthony Davis. I think that's going to be too much for Memphis to bear, and they're going to end up being small.
So Anthony Davis is playing, is what you guys have him playing, correct?
Yes.
You guys have him being here. Okay. I mean, you can't have situational defense from one LeBron James. That's one. He can't pick and choose. He has to play defense the whole entire series. He has to take better shots in his herky-jerky step-back threes. You want him to punish down low and high pick-and-roll situations. When Anthony Davis, when he's finding shooters, fine. Memphis just has to lose that way if LeBron and AD is all in the paint all day and they're getting killed from outside and inside. That's why I have the Lakers' success at. The Lakers sit down and then have this guy having to making decisions and then sulking. Memphis, clearly 5 or 6.
And see, for me, I think of what Memphis has to do and what they'll need Ja and the rest of them to step up to do. Like Ja, you can't be lost on defense anymore.
I think that's gonna matter. I don't think the Lakers are that great of a team. I think it's just going to be downhill. He's going to be drawing fouls for them. I don't think they have anything like they have to worry about like of a Golden State with the Lakers. The Lakers are not good. If this is Golden State in the first round matchup with Memphis, I would tell you that the Lakers are an overrated basketball team, in which I don't think you have to worry about being a defensive stout team. Okay, and they're going to show it. They're so flawed. Oh my goodness, they're so flawed.
No, that John matchup does worry me after picking the Lakers, because I'm not sure, besides Vanderbilt, they have anyone that can really stay in front of them. So that could be an issue. But as of now, I think the 2 best players on the court play for the Lakers. Ja's going to have to prove me wrong. I think he has the ability to do so, but I'm going to have to see it.
Boy, AD, you are getting a pass among pass. I think AD will prove to me why you're going to say, oh my gosh, you were right. That guy does not come to you talk about Embiid's engine. AD's engine is worse than Embiid's. That guy should be imposing his dominance. AD has more offensive ability than Embiid.
Yeah.
And he should be in more of it. Granted, he got the bubble chip and he's living off of it. AD is trash.
Oh, man.
Wow. Bro, come on. There's no way. Like, listen, to be fair, he should be the number one. I mean, he should be the number one weapon
on the Lakers.
when you're thinking it should be him, LeBron. I got him, Ja, LeBron. But if you got him, LeBron, Ja, that's fine. But it should be AD. And then Jaren Jackson fourth. And it's just imposing his will all around. I mean, but his point guard handle. He could shoot the jump shot, mid range, and the three, and he could post up and turn around. It's everything you think of, and yet he'll give you 12 points, or he'll give you 29. So, listen, y'all got the Lakers. I got Memphis. Don't get shocked when they get knocked out in 5, and then adding Kyrie next year.
Let's move on to the other LA team. LA Clippers versus Suns, the next game. Got Kevin Durant making his first appearance as a Phoenix Sun in the playoffs against Kawhi Leonard, no PG. Some might argue that the Clippers are one of the more deeper teams in the playoffs at this point. What do we think this series is going to be?
No PG, Phoenix in 6.
Phil?
Joint in 7. Give me the Clippers in 7. I want to say 6, but give me the Clippers in 7.
I'm gonna take the Suns. Suns in 7. Suns in 7.
Wow.
I'm gonna take the Suns in 7.
Most people got Suns in 4.
I'll take the Suns in 7. I think, to your point, Hill, I think the Clippers are going to be one of the tougher matchups for this team, especially with their bench. I think they're one of the few teams I think that can expose Phoenix's weakness of their bench, that they don't really have a bench at this point in time. I think the Clippers could push them to the limit.
Yeah, I think the Clippers could win. I mean, Ty and Monty's a good matchup at head coaching. I think I'll give a little edge to Ty. I love Kawhi, how he's playing so far. And if KD has to play both sides and get KD into some foul trouble, that Phoenix bench you want to delve into is almost unrecognizable. Give me what, Biyombo off the bench. I don't know what comes off of there. You know what I'm saying? So you want to dig into that. You want to make Booker get into foul trouble. That's the type of way I'm hoping that Ty places. Make them play both sides, get them in foul trouble, have them sitting, and hopefully the age of CP3 is what's going to have to take you to the promised land. I mean, I feel good about the Clippers, actually.
P? Any other thoughts on this series?
Nope. I wish PG was there. He's not.
So what? So you guys to scream playoff P?
No, yeah, I mean, yeah.
You'll never get that from me. So
you might have a blessing for him to just be sitting out the first round, so he doesn't have to get yelled at that he didn't come through. Let him come to the second round of the playoffs, which I have him going, and then we'll see from there. He still might give you playoff P in the second round, so let's just hold on on having.
We'll see if Kawhi could cross the finish line. You know, he's in that Chris Paul, PG, Harden. You know, he gets hurt a lot.
Yeah, absolutely. He pulls this one off, though. This is a heck of a feat.
Yeah.
Well, the last game of the Western Conference first round, or last series we need to discuss is Denver versus the Timberwolves. Do you think the Timberwolves can make a series of this? It seems like, on paper at least, it seems that they have the right personnel to match up well with against Denver, but so often, as the case with Minnesota, is we worry about their maturity, worry about coaching, worry about them sticking to their defensive principles if they do have them. Do you guys give Minnesota a shot in this series?
I've had a 2-year sample size of Finch and Minnesota. Really 3. So if you would have told me who do I have, if you would spot me 10 to 15 points of Minnesota being up every game, I would still take the Nuggets. I think they're a horribly coached team. I think they implode personality-wise. They don't mesh, as a team. They have so many hurdles to get over, like I said, internally. I love Anthony Edwards and Karl Anthony Towns. I just hate the fact that they disappear. And then Karl Anthony Towns, he starts to self-implode once things starting to go bad. With that being said, I have Denver. I don't know if Jamal is going to be healthy for the entire thing. I don't think it'll matter. I just think that Minnesota will beat themselves and the Nuggets will win this series. Possibly in 5. You know what I mean? And Minnesota could be up, like I said, all these games and still lose the lead.
P?
Yeah, echoing everything he said, basically. Denver in 5. The coaching is suspect. They're missing 2 key players due to injury. Yeah, Denver in 5.
I think I have Denver in 6. Hill, I'm starting to see what you're saying about Anthony Edwards and his skill, but the thing that frustrated me about Anthony Edwards in college still frustrates me as a professional. His shot selection. And what I mean by that is I don't believe that there's too many defenders in the NBA that can stay in front of Anthony Edwards if he puts his mind to go into the rim.
Mm-hmm. Agreed.
What my problem with Anthony is he'll have a defender that he knows he can take to the rim every time he gets the ball. But then he'll decide, let me take this 30-foot 3-point shot without even making the defender play honest D on him and forcing him into that shot. He's just taking it. And it's like, dude, I want him to operate how I'm asking Giannis to operate. Hey, don't get cute with the 3-pointers and stuff like that. Get to the rim. Get on foul line. Shooting a 3, it should be in a situation where, hey, the play was set up for that, or you were forced because of good defense. Too often, he's settling for those shots. And it's like, just terrible shot selection. And it's like, dude, you can be so dominant. you can be, and you're taking these shots and you're allowing the defender to get off easy. Like, make the defender work.
And his body type, though, he's like Bron with way better handle and a better shot. But I would prefer Bron to drive it and Bron to shoot it. You know what I mean? It's so hard to. I want Anthony Edwards taking more shots. Cat's more efficient, but I want Anthony Edwards. I love the ball in his hands. You know what I mean? I'm pretty much a give or take when he's, like you said, attacking the hole. It's something's good. It's a driving kick. I think it's a little bit more. He's a little too unselfish trying to make plays when he's driving. I think he should just go to the cup and get the foul, or just and just be more aggressive that way. I totally agree. I hate when he settles for that solid pull up 3, that set shot 3. It's usually a dud or a hard brick. I totally get it. I just don't know. They just have enough, again, on the Trae Young thing. They just have enough to sniff the playoffs. And then they just fizzle out and die out. And it's a lot of that is coaching. It really is. Yeah. They have too many leads to be losing these games.
And another thing with Anthony, like you said, he drives and kicks out too often, and he doesn't reset to get the ball back. You know what I mean? Like how Steph will come down, give up the ball to Draymond, and reset in another position on the court, and fully expecting to get the ball back. Anthony doesn't do that, and that might be, to your point, Hill, a matter of coaching and setting him up to know that, hey, those type of plays are available to him, or he should be seeking out those type of plays where, hey, he may do a drive, kick out, reestablish himself, and get the ball right back, and go back.
He has all the tools. I mean, he has first 2 steps, he's a launching pad. or he has the Euro. You know what I mean? He's a hell of a finisher. And I'm like, just continue to drive, continue to drive, continue to drive. But he seems to be in this mantra of him being the point two guard and making the right plays at every time, and them sharing. I don't think they have the personnel to be sharing like the way they have. It finds itself in Slow-Mo's hands all the time for a set three or something of that nature.
Well, guys, who do we have going to the Western Conference Finals? What two teams do you have going to the Western Conference Finals?
I have Golden State Nugs.
P?
Wow, I just realized I can't pick Lakers Warriors, right? Two, three.
No.
So it's 1-4. Okay, so I got Suns. Oof.
Suns, Lakers.
I got Suns Warriors. Warriors. Yeah. That'll be a hell of a second round matchup. Suns Warriors though.
I think I have the same thing, P. Suns Warriors.
Second round. What you think? You think?
Would you like you light the beam? That's what you're doing? You light the beam?
Wait. So you think that
light the beam? Feels like the beam.
Wow.
Wait, so you think? So what you're telling me is you think that the Lakers are going to win the first round and play the Warriors in the second round?
I think two lower seeds will advance to the second round. Yes.
It'll be fun to watch Dylan Brooks knock off the Lakers and then have the so-called, which is not rivalry with Golden State. It's a win-win for me for the second round. If I'm thinking what I'm thinking, my heart tells me to go with Phoenix. My betting range is going with Clippers because I'm getting so much money for it. So I'm going with Clips. But more than likely, you're probably going to have Joker, two-time MVP versus Kevin Durant. And it's a win for me. I don't care how it's looked at. I'll take it either way. He didn't deserve the MVPs, or you couldn't do it without him. So that's the win-win for me.
Someone's going to lose, so you're going to win.
Who's coming out of the Western Conference?
I got the Warriors, but I got to say this. I have the Warriors, definitely. That's my pick. But if Joker doesn't come out the West, nothing short of him coming out the West, I need to hear the backlash.
Oh, yeah. I mean,
we're talking about three-time felon here. We're talking three-time felon here, potentially. Three in a row MVP says quite a bit of the talent who you are. If you can't come out the West with the number one seed and potentially a three-time winner, I know he's not probably going to win. He's going to go to Embiid, but he's in the talks for three-time being the best player in the regular season. You cannot not make the Western Conference Finals. You have to win the West for me.
I'm going to give you the heads up, Hill. The Joker apologists are going to say it's a regular season award.
I know. Which enable you to get the number one seed and play the lowest of the first round, and the rest of the second round gives you that easy way to go. I do not want to hear it.
I agree with you, but we'll be ready for it, though. I agree with you.
I agree with you, too. And hey, I hope we hear it. Fellas, what's on the radar, man?
Man, there's a lot of things happening down in Memphis, man. That whole situation with Michael Williams, the recruit. So see how it plays out. Yeah, I don't want to go too far in. I don't really know too much about it, but I hope all ends well for the kid, man. Tons of potential, bright future. I hope this potential bad decision did not derail his career. So that's something that's definitely on my radar.
For me, it's if I have enough energy being an old man to watch every game of these playoffs, I am locked in.
What's on my radar? The playoffs, new movie coming out, Chevalier. I'm really excited to see that. I hope they don't water it down. And it's a real interesting story. Real interesting to see how that plays out on screen.
Peace.
Peace.
Later on, fellas.